Hey guys, I'm Tim James from Backcountry Discovery Routes. I serve as the board president, and to my left here is Derek Roberts.
I got the first question, Tim. Are you excited to be here?
I am super excited to be here.
So
and did
first
that
live stream for you and I together, right?
Yeah, this is the first live stream that I've done. Normally, you all are used to seeing Ina and Paul.
That's right.
And man, there's some big shoes to fill. I'm a little nervous. I got to be honest.
I don't know if we are here to fill them so much as we were handed them.
Yeah.
To get to work.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna do the best we can.
That's right.
So we're here at Eurosport Asheville. We're in Asheville, North Carolina, Thomas Montgomery has been nice enough to allow us to rearrange his showroom to make our set here. So thanks to Thomas. We're going to talk to him in a couple of minutes. But what are we here for tonight?
Yeah, tonight we're going to screen for the first time ever the final cut of the South East BDR film. And
what does that final cut mean? Because it's a little different than what everyone's been seeing over the last 4 months. We've had our tour across the country at dealerships across the country, but tonight's a pretty special edition of that.
It totally is. And, I can just vouch for the team. I wasn't involved in the production of this film or this route. Mm-hmm. But there was one very critical event that actually almost derailed this route completely and delayed it for a full year.
Yeah.
Did derail about 15 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you've seen this at the dealer before, you haven't seen the final cut yet. So super exciting that you can watch the entire live stream we're going to do here in just a few minutes. Yeah. And you'll see it for the first time with the rest of us.
Yeah. And I want to give a call out to Derek Roberts here, who's been with BDR for how long now? Have you been working?
So we've been with BDR now for 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have you vamp a little bit. I just want to check on some of the settings with the live stream while you're doing this.
A lot of you may not have met Derek before, but because Derek's usually on the other side of the camera. He's the wizard behind the curtain that makes this all happen, all this technology. You can't see the technology that I'm looking at right now, but there's a lot of wires and lights and microphones and cameras, and he's the guy that has put it all together. So he's always been on the other side, and it's great to have you on this side of the camera. And
totally. When we get a chance, you and I, to work on so many routes together, obviously over the 6 years, we've gone from doing one route a year to now we're doing 4 routes a year.
Yeah.
So we get to work together on a lot of different things, but this is super exciting.
Yeah, Derek and I work together on a daily basis, and we have for 6 years.
Yeah. And you'll see us looking back and forth here, obviously, between, the computer and then the main camera here. So I just want to make sure we've got everybody over there. It looks like one gentleman heard double audio, but he had 2 tabs open. So he was listening to 2 streams at once. So if you're getting good audio, give us a thumbs up, guys. This is live, so we want to make sure that you're having a good experience on the other side. Yeah.
So, so we should talk a little bit about, who's hosting us here tonight. I mean, Thomas Montgomery who's owner of Eurosport Asheville, which is, my local dealer. And I've known Thomas for a long time, actually. I actually met him when we were right after the MidAtlantic expedition. He hosted a screening. And back then, I mean, now we're talking 7 years ago, I think.
Yeah, before I was even part of the organization.
Yeah. So, and we only had, one route in the east, and it was the Mid-Atlantic. He came up and he said, "No, I when you guys do one in the south, I'm all in.
Totally,
I'm all in." And he literally put up for a sponsorship 7 years ago. And for 7 years ago, we're getting to it. I swear we're getting to it, Thomas. We'll get there. We're going to give you a route. We got some good people working on it.
Every year for the last 7 years, we send him a Christmas card that says, "Just a little more money, Thomas, and we're almost there."
Yeah, just a little bit more. Yeah, it's all on you, buddy. But he hung in there, and actually he joined us on part of the expedition, and that's so you're going to see him tonight when you watch the film.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And Thomas is in the film, like you said, and this is a great resource for BDR riders because really you're in proximity. I mean, obviously the Southeast, but if you're coming from anywhere in this region, you want to ride Chattahoochee or the Mid-Atlantic, this is a good spot to stop in and get to some BDR merch, which maybe we should talk about here in a second.
Yeah, I think so. I know, Thomas is really made a commitment to selling our BDR gear, our merch, and he's actually right over there, I think, standing by his.
That's it. Is Thomas over at? Let's switch the cameras here. And let's see if he's over there. Okay, I'm gonna try out this third camera here.
There he is.
There he is. All right, Thomas, why don't you come over, chat with us here, man?
We got some questions for you.
Right. So we'll get him fired up on a microphone here.
There you go, Thomas.
Thank you.
Well, again, thank you for hosting us tonight and letting us literally wreck your showroom. I'm moving things around. I'm moving bikes. I'm moving furniture. I'm moving retail units. So thank you for letting us to be at home here and make it work. So tell us a little bit about that. What I was talking about. I was talking about that involvement early on. You know, when MidAtlantic, because you had a little bit of involvement in the MidAtlantic as well, didn't you?
A little bit. I mean, definitely the movie night was very successful.
Yeah.
So,
We had it at that rib place, right?
We had it Highwire Brewing that night, I believe. Is that the?
Oh yeah. I think I was definitely eating there for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and back then you were like saw the value of BDR, I think, and saw the vision, and decided to make that commitment, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed a no-brainer for us. Most of the people in this building are dual sport riders, and we were all about the whole idea of having a route that you can just download and go for a ride. So it made sense. I went out west and rode a couple and was hooked.
Yeah.
So
that's a common story, right?
Totally is.
Right.
And I know you mentioned riding out west, so you've ridden Wyoming. Obviously, you've ridden the big portions of the South East BDR here, the MidAtlantic BDR. What else is on your roster?
Definitely Colorado, Utah, Arizona. Did the Big Bend X route this spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is something that's so common, Thomas, too, is people that support the BDR, they don't just do it, sort of on a whim.
Yeah.
It's they've done it after they've experienced it over and over again.
Yeah.
And we're actually super excited because we've got it up on the cam here, too.
Yeah.
You're one of the first dealers that's going to be pioneering this sort of BDR retail space, and we're trying to kind of create some hubs with dealerships like yours where people can come in and not just get merch and maps and that kind of things, but also advice on the route, because as we know, closures happen all the time and that kind of thing. So
Right.
this is
Yeah.
a great place for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
exactly.
seen any riders yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had several groups come through, and
That's awesome.
yeah, they've been pumped about it. It's a pretty quick jump off the route over to the shop. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been solid.
Well, listen, Thomas, it's awesome for you to host us here, and obviously people are chomping at the bit because they want to watch the film. But I wonder maybe you could wrap up on this segment for us and just give us one piece of advice for BDR riders, because everyone's got sort of that one magic ingredient that makes an expedition go.
Yeah.
Sure.
Great question.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to have an open mind and be prepared for whatever comes at you. I mean, don't fight it. It is an adventure. So
But that sounds like advice for life.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
it's-
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's a
Good
huge
counsel.
part of
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do what we can to help you, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the audience has noticed it, that commitment he's made up on that wall there, but there's a giant map of the United States, and Thomas has actually put BDR stickers on every state that has a BDR, and I even see the little BDRX stickers for all of the loop routes. So that's pretty cool. You're going to keep that current every time we put a new route out?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Send me a
Excellent.
sticker. We'll put it up.
We will. But I mean, it's great. I was on, looking at some of the Facebook group pages today, and specifically in the Southeast.
Yeah.
And someone put a question out there. How do I get a map on the route itself? I didn't order it in time. And,
Yep.
and
It happens all the time.
so that's what we're trying to do is make it more available in the dealerships along the routes, and I'm looking at a table full of the not only the local routes, but Thomas has got all the BDR maps here.
That's
So
it.
if you're
Yeah,
planning
for
a
sure.
trip to the other side of the country, you can come here and get your map.
That's good, and I think that's a good note to wrap up on here. So why don't we move on to the next segment with a final thank you to Thomas and
Yeah.
Asheville Eurosport for hosting us and
Yeah.
pioneering this program, man.
For sure.
Thomas,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
you.
Appreciate you being here, Thomas.
Yeah,
For sure.
For sure.
And while Thomas kind of steps aside here, and thanks again, Thomas, for joining us, we do have a pretty special map behind us. Do you think we should mention that real quick?
We absolutely a lot of work went into that map.
Yeah.
So we have a commemorative map behind us that is represents all of the current routes that we have as
That's
of
right.
2025.
Yep.
So which marks our 15th year. It's our 15th anniversary year, and that map has every single route, including all the X routes. There's even a outline for an upcoming route that'll be out later this year.
That's
down
right,
in
which
Texas.
we'll talk about a little bit here
Yeah.
in a second. Yeah.
So the one behind us is just an example, but we've got a bunch of the very limited amount that's available for our audience with a $100 donation to the BDR. It's really easy to do. Tell people how to do that.
That's right. So if you just go ridebdr.com/SEBDR, where probably most people are watching this stream. So if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see the donate button. And we need to hammer home because Ina was insistent that we let people know. Limited edition.
Yeah, that's true.
This is it.
And I think from what I understand, we already sold. So we put this up on the website, I think yesterday.
Yep.
So that people who were interested in getting that map early. So I think we already sold something like 60 or 70 of them.
That's right.
Yeah. So they're going to go quick. And that's just not, we're not really just trying to encourage you to donate. That's the truth. If you're looking to get your hands on one of these maps, it'd probably be a good idea to do it during the broadcast. But it will be available if there are still, it'll be up there for another day.
Yeah, another day or two probably, but we're assuming that they're going to sell out because after the early promo emails we've done, they already have sold quite quickly. So, and of course, all of this money just goes back into helping us do what we do, which is create new routes, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's one other add-on to this map, too,
That's
which
right.
I'm going to pull up this slide again here so we can take a look at it. So not only do you get the limited edition map if you donate $100 or more tonight, but also you are going to get a subscription to Onyx Offroad, their elite annual subscription.
Their premium subscription, yes.
This is what I use. Do you use it as well, Tim?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And what a lot of our scouts use to actually develop the routes. So this is a great asset for any BDR rider. Yeah. It's the preferred navigation app, and if you're like me, I actually do all my BDR navigation on a phone now. It works incredibly well. And the elite subscription is actually $100.
Yeah.
So if you spend $100 as a donation tonight, you get the map and you get that. So that's pretty rad.
Yeah. So it's a really good deal. So please, think about it. So let's
just highlight. So we talked about the fundraiser opportunity here, but coming up, obviously, we're going to screen the entire film for the first time.
Yep, and it's about 75 minutes.
Yep,
right?
about 75 minutes.
So it's an extra 15 minutes on the film that you may or may not have seen before, right? But it's worth watching again for sure.
Yeah, well, you definitely haven't seen it before unless you're Sterling watching, but I think he's out in the back country.
Yeah, no, I think some of the audience probably saw the original cut. Is
That's
what I'm
true.
saying.
Yes,
it's worth watching the cut just for those last 15 minutes because you get to see how we all made it happen.
That's right. And then if you want to drop your questions in the chat, we actually are going to be taking some Q&A and answering some of those after the broadcast ends. So if you want some specifics on what to do while you're on the route or any tips for it, we're going to be talking with BDR Ambassador Rob Pack, who was very involved in this year.
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
And then when we close out the night, too, you mentioned another route coming this year. Why don't you just share with folks what we're going to be releasing in October?
Yeah, Texas Hill Country.
Yeah.
Right? It's already been shot. It's in the editing process right now. And you can see it right
on
down
the map.
There. Can't miss it, the big red splotch in Texas. So that comes out later this year. And that'll put us at how many routes this year?
20? Is that the 20th?
That would be, I guess that would be our 20th, because it's 14 main routes or classic routes, as I like to call them, and 6 BDRXs.
Yes, which is really incredible. And it's who knew we'd be back to Texas this far, but they found some good riding down there in Hill Country.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, we just did a Texas route not long ago, so but the team thought it would be a really good idea to go back. This is so good. So, yeah.
Totally. Right. So definitely it's a huge deal. And this is obviously the reason that's on there is because it's going to be released this year, which is 2025.
That's correct.
Which is our 15-year anniversary. So that will wrap this up. But, 15 years, we're just getting started. And that's why we need the donations tonight, obviously. Yeah. So where do you want to go from here, Tim? We got lots of stuff to talk about.
Well, I mean, did we talk about why there's a second section to this film?
Yeah, we should expand on that a little bit, right? Because in particular, that impacted a lot of towns along the northern part of this route, and some of our favorites out there too.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of lived it. I live down in the south now, so I was pretty close to it. Unfortunately, Wendy and I weren't affected by it. Well, we kind of were, but that's another story.
Sure.
But it hurt a lot of people in a lot of ways, and so when we created the first part of the film, we stopped shooting in Maggie Valley.
Yeah.
North Carolina, and for obvious reasons, we couldn't go into the forest at that point. It just wouldn't been appropriate. So we waited 6 months, and we had Kirk and Rob and a bunch of other people on the team figuring out how we could make it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And do you remember when the hurricane was first passing through, we had logistically the entire trip planned? And
yeah, we did.
There were a lot of questions about how far south is it going to move? Should we, are we going to be able to get on the route? Should we shoot the film? It was really a challenging thing. And, we're going to talk about Damascus here in just a second. Yeah. Which is the conjunction or the.
Right. Yeah. But that's what you're saying is absolutely true. It was a huge puzzle for us to figure out. Yeah. We're going to launch this route. And, what should we do? We have to produce a map. And the map can't just end in Maggie Valley. We've got it. So we produced the map with the entire route as it was originally intended to be ridden. And the tracks, however, were modified at that point. What was available at the time. But now there's well, I'll let Kirk talk a little more about that at some point. But now, most of the original route is available.
Well, and there's a video here that I want to play for everybody. And we talked about Damascus briefly. Mm-hmm. And I remember one of the things that really impressed me most about those conversations, which I was fortunate enough to be in on, about whether or not we should do the route was, well, at some point there's going to be a recovery. Mm-hmm. And at some point the tourism dollars and the sustained visitation from BDR riders and, just the sort of the morale boost from BDR riders, right? We have a very supportive community is going to be important to some of these towns. Yeah. And no better reflection of that than Damascus.
Oh, Damascus strong.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a strong community. They're a small community. Yep. I think they have a population of 800. Don't quote me exactly on that, but it's pretty close to that. So we looked at Damascus in that situation. And we said, they're going to need some help.
Yes.
They've been so crucial to our route development here on the East Coast.
Totally.
The start of the MidAtlantic, which was our first route here in the East, and so they were suffering. And we wanted to figure out a way that we could help, and we wound up our board approved a grant to help them in their recovery efforts. So we donated to the Damascus Strong Fund, and actually right after we shot, we finished in Maggie Valley. Myself and Kirk Lakeman and Michael Bilecki rode up and met with the town. Yeah, and presented a check.
So this was in the thick of really days after the hurricane had passed through.
Oh yeah, weeks.
Yes,
it was weeks. It was still really fresh.
Yeah. So let's run the video.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, and what I'm just gonna put one emphasis on before we just hit the button on that is, this is something that BDR does behind the scenes. And so, obviously riding the routes and getting out there and having fun and the films and the camaraderie is something that is at the forefront of our discussions. But this is something that we do work on behind the scenes, this type of project, something we want to do more of. Yeah. And I'll say personally, too, in my 6 years here, I have a lot of reasons to be proud of the work that we've done, but I had never been more proud of BDR as an organization than what goes down in this video here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Don't make me cry because
well, you spearheaded it.
Yeah, so. It was really special, and I was never more proud of BDR as an organization when we did this. And these small towns along our routes are so critical to our riders. Yeah. It's where they can land and get food and fuel and lodging and so for us, supporting them in the way that giving back and supporting them for being there for us
totally
and with open arms. And Damascus actually where they're called Trail Town USA.
That's right.
And there's a bunch of trails that actually converge, and there's the Appalachian Trail goes through there, the Creeper Trail, and of course the BDR. But anyway, we should.
So let's run this. Yeah, we'll run this. We'll be right back in a second here.
The Dam 200 is an adventure motor ride for dual sports, and it's.
Hang on one second. That's another video that we have
here.
Yeah,
we share with you.
Plenty of Damascus videos here. So, we had it queued up here, but I may have to find it here while we talk. So let's do though. Let's talk about the Dam 200.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And then we can get that pulled up.
part of their recovery, right? So now they're open for business, and the businesses want tourism.
Right.
For a little while, they couldn't really support it. They were rebuilding. Now they want it. So it was kind of really perfect for the time that we launched the route that they were ready to accept our riders. They gave us a call and they said, hey, we're thinking of doing an adventure rally here in town. Can you help us? Can you consult with us and help us figure out how to do it? We've never done it before.
That's right.
So we've helped them and planned it, and it's actually happening this weekend. It's Friday night. It starts.
Yep.
It's the Dam 200. Well, the video is going to tell them all about it.
Yes.
Why don't we? I'll stop talking but it's pretty cool. If you guys want to get out for a ride this weekend and you're anywhere near Damascus, it should be a good event.
And supports Damascus. So let's run the right video now. We'll go to that here.
The Dam 200 is an adventure motor ride for dual sports, and it's also big bike friendly.
It's going to be such an amazing ride. We've got some of the BDR architects and ambassadors that will be joining us for this event.
We will have tent camping in town. We're going to have live music, South East BDR film premiere here at the Old Mill, all kinds of prizes.
You'll get a t-shirt, you'll get raffle tickets, we're going to serve you breakfast on Saturday morning. You get this amazing ride through all this beautiful countryside. All the proceeds from this ride will benefit Damascus Strong Fund and help us to continue to rebuild and recover. June 6th, 7th, and 8th. We can't wait to see you. We look forward to having you there, where it's going to be an amazing time.
Yeah.
How much fun does that look like? I mean, that's happening this weekend too.
Yeah. I wish I could go. I can't go. I really feel bad for not being able to go, but I've had a previous engagement. But I know this guy's going.
That's right.
So,
Well, let's
and
introduce.
he's what they really want there.
Let's introduce this guy here, right? This is Kirk Lakeman, the architect of the Southeast BDR.
And the newest board member at BDR.
That's right. And also the Chattanooga.
He's in his freshman year
BDRX.
of being on the board.
That's totally it. So, Kirk, awesome to have you here on the live stream. No one more deserving to be here tonight than you, obviously. I mean, we're talking about how many years in development for the Southeast BDR?
We started over 4 years ago with this project, and actually Thomas Montgomery was one of the first people I spoke to because he was already involved in looking at some tracks.
I told you he was all in.
We partnered up, but it's been a labor of love, but over 4 years.
Well, and that is something, again, that is emblematic of the entire BDR ecosystem. Is these aren't just ready-made routes, right? I mean, we're out there, we're scouting, it takes a village, right? Like we were talking about earlier today.
It takes a village, yeah.
And so many people contribute, and someone really has to lead the charge on that. And every route kind of has a route architect, and that was you for the Southeast.
Well, that's a really good point, though. I mean, yes, I'm called a route architect, but it does take a team, and we had able-bodied scouts from various regions throughout this route, including South Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. Two of our volunteers from Tennessee, including Rob Pack, who you're about to hear from in a moment. Yeah. And by the way, Rob and I and Thomas, all three will be at the Dam 200.
Oh, wow. There's some celebrity sightings there.
Come on.
So let's talk about that for a second. Then I've got some questions about the route in general. So so the Dam 200, what's going to happen over the course of the weekend? You're there starting Friday night?
Friday night, we're actually going to show the movie for the participants there in Damascus at the Old Mill Inn. And then the next morning we'll get up and leave Damascus, more or less as a group, but we'll break it up a bit, and ride 200 kilometers for the Dam 200 to raise money that weekend, this coming weekend, for the Damascus Strong Foundation. So it'll be an excellent ride and for a great cause. They still have a few spots available, so I recommend if you're watching this or you're interested, come on, please.
Yeah, I talked to the organizers the other day just to see how they were with registrants, and they still have some openings, and they will take walk-ups. So even if it's last minute, guys, you want to get out there and ride this route, show up on Friday night. Yeah, go see the film and then ride the route.
Definitely make it happen. Yeah. And while you're out there too, why not ride the Dam 200 and then go ride the Southeast BDR? I mean, you're watching the film tonight. You can support Damascus, and I'll give you partial credit if you ride the MidAtlantic and go north. I mean, we'll give you
for sure.
That's right.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
That's right. Yeah,
for sure.
And that's kind of a nice.
And I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the route. Okay.
Kind of a nice segue actually.
I appreciate that.
The Southeast BDR, and when we were talking to Thomas asked earlier, right? I mean, Southeast BDR and MidAtlantic Northeast was the final part in the East Coast trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, once you had this dialed in, Kirk, that had to be like such a winning feeling, right?
Yeah.
And you see that line on the map that goes all the way across the continent. Almost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To start at our southern border and end up at our northern border and at Canada, start in the Gulf.
Yeah.
It's amazing that we can do this now on adventure bikes.
I got to ask you a little bit about your process, right? So you were tasked with this pretty big project, right? It's a big area, right? It wound up being 1,300 miles. Where did you even start?
Well, we weren't sure where we were going to start. We knew we wanted to start as far south as practical, but we weren't quite sure we were going to start at saltwater to begin with. But we looked at the Atlantic, we looked at the Gulf, we looked at starting in Alabama, Georgia. It really took several years, actually, of scouting and scratching our heads and trying these things out, a lot of dead ends and U-turns and that kind of thing. But eventually we settled on the final route, and frankly, I'm very, very pleased and happy to have it out.
Oh, I couldn't be more happy with where it started, and it was true to where our founders, Paul Gillian and Bryce Stevens, and who's our head of route development. He's very big on, like, look, we're point to point. We are the bottom of a state to the top, border to border, right? And you can't be more border than the ocean. Right?
That's
as far south as you can go.
So starting that route with our feet in the brake, it was awesome. Just sitting there in the waves, like crashing on our boots. It was the coolest thing ever, I think, on a BDR.
It is
for me.
No question.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the really cool things for me on this route, overseeing our social media, is usually we release Western routes in the wintertime, and we release this one in the wintertime. But that is a much more rideable season for the Southeast BDR than, say, Washington or, 2026.
Yeah.
Montana's going to be coming, right? So it's really cool to see people. I mean, literally the day of the film screening, folks were going out and exploring the route as soon as the GPS tracks.
Oh, yeah.
dropped.
I mean,
and we're seeing photos and all kinds of
we had
great
people
stuff.
at the premiere
Yeah.
on their bikes, showed up at the premiere, and we're heading out the next day.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was a little chilly, but they made it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But we've had quite a few riders now on the route.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah.
And so,
We even met some, right?
We did.
Yeah.
While we were filming.
Which
Yes.
is a first ever, because this was kind of a weird thing,
Yeah.
right? When we do these expeditions and film the routes for the first time, no one knows where they are. No one has any idea where they are, and we don't tell anybody because we're trying to do it in on the slide. We
Yeah.
don't want anyone to know that where we are, where it's going to go. That's part of the intrigue here. But because we had released the tracks before we added to the film, we wound up running into probably, I'd say, half a dozen riders.
At least.
Yeah, and the only
All
well,
female.
we think the first female group to ride the route.
complete the
Yeah.
entire
That's
thing.
right.
Yeah,
which
the
was-
whole route from Florida to Virginia.
and they were posting on social media, and I can't remember where. I think they caught Wendy out there at some point
They
too.
did.
When we were at the fundraiser.
Oh, we were at the
in North
fundraiser. Yeah,
Carolina.
Wendy went out
Yeah.
there and actually did a little bit of riding with them. Yeah,
Right,
it was
which
cool.
was really fun. So,
Yeah.
Kirk, a lot of times people will ask basic questions about the route, which we get, but I think that we'll probably address some of that with Rob. So I want to ask a specific question or two to you.
Sure.
And I want to know what your favorite restaurant is on the route, because half the reason I ride BDR is to go to these local restaurants here. So if you could give a suggestion or two, I think that the people would definitely appreciate that.
It's hard to choose one.
Yeah.
But I will throw out at least one.
Yeah.
Cave Spring, Georgia, Stagecoach Pizza.
Stagecoach Pizza.
Remember that, Tim?
I'm never going to forget it. I won't, and because I felt at home. The guy was from New York. He was right. The guy who started. They were from New York and came down and started this business.
Making some pizza.
So I'm like, wait a minute, we're in the middle of nowhere, and I'm going to get actual New York style
pizza. I love it.
So you approve of that?
100%.
There we go.
Yeah, it was so good.
That's fantastic. So, so with that then, Kurt, why don't you give the people maybe one piece of encouragement, and the folks watching here, to go out, or any final closing thoughts that you just want to say on the route or the project, or anything else related to it?
I think it's an excellent route. I've ridden several backcountry discovery routes before this, and I think this sort of stands up to our standards.
Yep.
It's not one of our hardest routes. It's also not our easiest.
Yep.
But it's approachable, I think, for all skill levels.
Yep.
Just bring a bike that you're comfortable with, that you have a little time in. Pick the right time of year. Don't go in the deepest worst part of the winter, even though it's accessible year round.
Sure.
I think, April and up to November is probably best. But enjoy yourself and take your time. This is a scenic ride through the national forest with all these little villages we stop through, and so don't rush it, guys, and have fun.
Just one. I do have a question.
Yeah.
So you said that it's not one of our hardest routes, and I think there's sections that, depending on the time of year, really change. Right?
For sure.
And specifically, what I'm thinking of is that really southern part. That's, when you're coming up through Florida, right? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, we've had several riders already ride the route, and we're getting a lot of reports that I'm not surprised about, because I've been riding this route for the past 3 or 4 years,
Sure.
including the southern part of Alabama and northern part of the panhandle of Florida, and I knew what it was going to be like when we had the rainy season. So massive mud in some cases, lots of sand, very, very deep mud puddles and creek crossings.
Yeah.
But, it's all rideable. You just have to take your time,
right.
and plan your line, and be ready for that. And if you fall over, pick your bike up and continue on.
Yeah. I mean, when we rode the route in October, I guess, right?
It's dry.
It was dry as a bone, and Kirk kept saying, this is not what it's normally like.
Right.
This is really, really ideal situations. I was fine with it. Yeah.
I'd never seen it that dry, ever.
Yeah.
But
So we had a great
makes for a
experience.
good movie, though.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
it. Well, Kirk Lakeman, BDR board member, route architect of the South East BDR and the Chattahoochee BDRX. Awesome to have you here on the live stream as we get ready to roll into the film here. And we're going to get you out on that note, because Tim and I are going to ask for money again.
Oh, we are.
Because
Yeah.
Step away.
that's part of the reason.
You can do that too. Your last words can be,
That's right.
Donate.
That's part of the reason we're here. So I'm going to bring back up the slide here that talks about the fundraiser that we have going on tonight. If you donate $100 or more, so feel free to donate.
Oh yeah,
$100 or
don't stop
more.
at 100 just because that's what we're suggesting.
That's
just
right.
the suggested,
That's it. You're going to get this limited edition 15-year anniversary BDR map, which you can see on screen here, and an elite annual subscription to Onyx Off-Road, who is actually our newest partner. So we want to thank them for coming on board. And again, that elite subscription is worth $100, and you're going to get the 15-year anniversary map. So that's pretty great.
Can I talk about why it's so critical to raise this money?
Let's do it.
We're a nonprofit. I think everyone knows that at this point. If you don't know that we are, but we are committed to continuing to raise the bar on what we deliver to the community. In so much as that our head of route development, Bryce Stevens, committed to doubling the amount of routes that we currently have by 2030. So that's 5 years. So we have 20 routes right now, including both types of routes. So by 2030, he thinks we're going to have 40 routes. Oh no, not he thinks. He knows. If he had his way, we'd have double that. He's an amazing guy and is really driven, and he's got a list of routes that we're working on that is as long as my arm.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, additional 20 routes. I want to bring the fundraising slide back up.
Right.
Again.
So my point being is that we're only going to do that if we have the support of the community. We can't afford to do that if the community doesn't pitch in and help us do that. So that's why it's so critical. We want to make this. We want to keep giving you more and more and more experiences. We love it.
Yes.
It's but we can't do it without the funding. So please, know that we're depending on the community.
That's right.
For help.
Yep. And very thankful for every donation. And if you can't donate $100 tonight, you may not get the map or the Onyx Off-Road subscription, but $5 helps, $10 helps.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I always like to sort of hype on, or I should say, harp on in any of these situations is, remember, people are riding BDRs at all different stages of life.
Yeah.
So there may be some young kids out there, and oftentimes we talk about, young folks aren't riding. I got to tell you, being on social media, they are riding BDRs. So they may not be able to donate yet at this stage in their life. They will, though, in another 20 years. So just think about that. Every dollar you donate, you're helping someone have fun. It may be yourself. It may be your friend. It could be somebody with 2 or 3 kids. It could be a young guy. It could be anybody, right? We see it all on BDR. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and like Derek said, we appreciate any donation.
That's right.
And thank you for it. It allows us to do our job.
Yep. So maybe then we'll throw it to Kirk one final time here and just have him cue up the film. Do you guys want to see the Southeast BDR, the final cut?
The final cut.
Yeah.
Starring Kirk Lakeman.
That's right.
Starring a lot of people. We have wonderful volunteers who you'll see in this movie.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody enjoys it. I hope everybody has a chance to ride this route and our other routes. And some of you will do the trilogy and run from border to border, which we can't wait to hear about.
Yeah.
That's it. So this is the Southeast Backcountry Discovery Route Expedition documentary film, Final Cut, brought to you by Kirk Lakeman and the Backcountry Discovery Routes.
The extended edition.
That's right.
Enjoy.
Let's roll the film.
At Backcountry Discovery Routes, we're known for the epic off-highway routes we create for adventure motorcycling across the U.S. We've been delivering adventures of a lifetime since 2010. But as a nonprofit, our mission is far more than just drawing lines on a map. BDR is dedicated to inspiring exploration beyond the pavement and advocates to maintain access for all who enjoy the sport. We leverage our broad reach to communicate the importance of rider safety and showing respect for the communities and the public lands our routes travel through. And through it all, a beautiful thing happens. Thousands of riders each year deliver critical tourism dollars to the small businesses and rural towns along our routes, strengthening the very places that make these adventures possible. Be a part of this journey with us. The future depends on you. Help fuel our mission. Donate today at ridebdr.com.
This route will be certainly one of our longest, if not the longest, when we finish. We're talking well over 1,300 miles.
So I've been working on this route for a little over 3 years. Biggest curveball we encountered was obviously Hurricane Helene.
The fall colors here have been equally as spectacular as the Northeast on this trip.
Starting in Florida, moving up through Alabama, the terrain has changed so much. We're in this beautiful, dense forest.
I really think the adventure riders on the eastern seaboard are craving this kind of experience.
I think everybody can do it. You need to have some experience, of course.
Just get out there and try it. It's gonna be the best experience you ever had. And then you're gonna wanna do another one.
I think once this is released, it's gonna be one of the most popular of all of them.
I love the mountains, I love the beach, so kind of got this both of them on this route.
Mid-level challenges, but nice forest roads. If you don't like riding curvy, twisty, paved roads on a dirt bike, you just don't really like riding a motorcycle.
I consider myself still a novice. Knowing that you're going to be riding with people that are very experienced in ADV, it was a little bit daunting.
In 7 short years, BDR has completed our mission here on the East Coast, which is giving riders the opportunity to ride from the Gulf of Mexico to the Canadian border.
It's really good. It's a bona fide BDR route.
The Southeast BDR is a 1,300-mile journey through the stunning and diverse landscapes of the southeastern United States. The route consists of 10 sections, starting at the sugar white sands of Navar Beach, Florida, before winding through the Appalachian Mountains in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina, ending in Damascus, Virginia, the starting point for the MidAtlantic BDR. Riders will experience a remarkable variety of climates and terrain, from dense forests and scenic overlooks to picturesque lakes, roaring rivers, and optional challenging sections. This route is accessible from early spring to late fall and will take an average of 7 to 10 days to complete. The SEBDR marks a significant milestone for BDR, completing the East Coast trilogy of 3 interconnected Eastern BDRs to create an epic route from the Gulf of Mexico to the Canadian border.
Well, we're at Navar Beach right now. You're 6 hours from Atlanta, 9 hours from Nashville, Tennessee. So it's accessible, but we are in the panhandle of Florida.
So the airplane dropped me in Georgia, where I met up with my motorcycle, and here I am in Florida. I don't have a clue what to expect. That means around every single corner there's going to be an adventure.
It's usually a 2-day process for us to get the bike sorted. Everybody comes in. It's an exciting time. Get your Southeast graphics right here, $3.99. We're decaling the bikes. Everyone's prepping and packing and getting the support truck ready.
So we have KTM, Yamaha, Triumph, the Aprilia, Harley-Davidson, the Husqvarna. I think this is gonna help show other riders that wanna do a BDR that you can pretty much ride whatever bike you'd like.
You ride one bike, nonstop. Sometimes you can wonder how long you're gonna stay interested, right? But I love this thing. Definitely a good bike.
Check every bolt on your bike to make sure it's tight. You need fresh tires. And your bike isn't normally used to riding more than a couple days usually. Then it's just your gear. You want, your clothing to be able to adapt to weather differences. Tools to help fix your bike, first aid kit to fix yourself, and then the last is some kind of satellite communication device.
We went down to the beach and literally all put our back foot in the water, front foot forward, as if we're about to start our journey. And to me, that's just so cool, right? We had our feet in the salt water and we're starting a BDR.
About to go on an epic ride. It's going to be surreal to go from the beach to the Appalachian Mountains.
This is such an incredible start to a route. I mean, we're literally at the ocean. It's the first time in BDR history.
We're going to start with a fairly long street section for the first 45 minutes or so, just to pass through the Eglin Air Force Base, the largest Air Force base in the world.
Beautiful, fresh sea breeze. What a great way to start this ride. Say goodbye to the water as we go across this beautiful bridge. This looks like the dirt starts here.
I mean, right out of the gate, we were on a sand road and everybody was just trying to get their sand legs on. And
I would recommend that people go ahead and put their ride modes in something they can be happy with, perhaps for the rest of the day, because the dirt sections are interspersed with pavement. And you'd be happier, I think, if you could find a setting and kind of leave it.
The sand, it's not the kind of deep sand that'll swallow you up, spit you out. Underneath it is this wild layer of hard packed clay. And then you're instantly back into 4 to 6 inches of sand.
Now we're riding in the woods. Got some cool big trees overhanging the road here.
Once we get towards Alabama time, we'll start getting some hardwood stuff. The leaves are changing. We get a little more elevation and stuff going up into Alabama.
One of the interesting things about this entire track is that it's an evolution. The topography is going to change, the food is going to change, the southern accents, the draws will shift, the vistas will evolve. It's really a journey. I've ridden this section probably 5 or 6 times in the past few years, and this is the only time I've seen it this dry. Usually you have water spanning the entire width of the trail. It's normally just a mud-fest lake, very dry right now.
Still early on day one, and boy, we've gotten a nice taste of unpaved terrain to explore around. People who think Florida doesn't have any ADV riding certainly aren't riding with our guys. Yeah, we've had a little bit of everything here in the last 150 yards. Nothing like Florida to give you diversity and variety.
Well, I've ridden that section many times, but today I proved that I cannot ride sand.
I was definitely not expecting this fun of riding this early in the route. All right, Tobias, go get it. Yeah! Woo! It's really getting us warmed right up here, man. I'll tell you what.
That's how you ride so good. KTM orange, Kawasaki green. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. 5, 6, 7. In case you missed it, 8.
It's been a great run through Florida, and I cannot wait to see what Alabama has to offer.
So here we go, crossing the state line.
As soon as we crossed into Alabama, we started climbing up into the mountains, cruising through these curvy tracks, kicking up leaves everywhere.
Nice way to get started on the first day of the South East BDR.
So why did we stop here in the middle of this rural back road?
We stopped because we're amongst the cotton field here.
You got some cotton balls for your makeup tonight.
Looks like cotton candy.
Don't eat it.
You won't find cotton fields anywhere on the Mid-Atlantic or the Northeast. You know, it's funny, Kirk described this first day as a transport day. It was mostly going to be road. That has not been our experience. I would say a good 60-70% of this ride this morning has been dirt and sand roads, and they've been fabulous.
I think it was a good mix to get us started because, you know, everybody in the beginning of the trip may be wanting to find out where they're at, and that's a nice introduction or start into the Southeast BDR.
All day, just around every corner, it was something new, and you just kind of did this hopscotch. It was just a great medley of roads today. So my hat's off to Kirk and Monty and the rest of the team for putting this together.
We're at the Conecuh Sausage Factory at the store.
Sausage.
Sausage.
This is the real deal, Conecuh sausage in Evergreen, Alabama.
This has not been a high-speed BDR this morning. We go through a lot of areas where there's houses. You want to be mindful of your speed because there's people that live out here. They use these roads, they drive on them, they walk their dogs.
I can't think of another BDR I've ever ridden in my life that had as many dogs. It's a dog-friendly route.
So we're on Old Federal Road. Was originally designed to be the main thoroughfare to take you from Washington, D.C. all the way to New Orleans. Behind me is Anderson Stage Stop, which is the original stage stop. Over 100 years old, it's still standing, obviously.
We just rolled through a cute little town called Pineapple. Lots of really nice, old, fixed-up houses. A lot of them have signs in their yard giving them cute pineapple names.
This town, small now, maybe 130 population, but at one point it was an important town because of the lumber industry, among other things. How many people live here now?
I'm not sure what the population is now. I know we increased it a percentage point or two.
That's awesome. It's named Pineapple because it was known for its apple orchards and its pine forests.
That's kind of what I've heard too, and it's why you see it too. It's separated. It's not one word. It's pine apple.
Yeah.
Yep.
Day one was good, very dusty. You know, it's end of summer in the south, so it's very dry.
There was a point where we were cruising down this sand road and the light was just feathering through the trees and creating these beams of light, and those beams of light were full of dust, and it just created this like magical environment. I think everyone can relate to that. There's a point where you're like, yes, this is it. And that was it for me today.
So Selma became a focus point for the civil rights movement. In 1964, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. staged a couple of marches from Selma to Montgomery. There were conflicts coming across the bridge with local law enforcement, and there was
violence, and people were outraged. They couldn't believe this was happening in America. Ultimately, the civil rights legislation of the mid-60s was passed, and it basically ensured that anybody who was a citizen in the United States could register to vote. It all started right here. The base of the bridge is where the fighting happens. It's a sad piece of history, but it was important.
The history of Selma, yes, it goes from the Civil War all the way up to the Civil Rights. During the Civil War, the Confederacy had a foundry here that made cannons, cannonballs, and Union soldiers come through, they burnt the whole city. The Confederacy actually threw most of the cannonballs and cannon stuff into the Alabama River. Museum on Water Avenue kind of covers the history of Selma, the farming, agricultural stuff here, all the way up, to the modern times.
This train station was built where the Naval Arsenal was. And what it is, it's an incorporation of all of Selma and Dallas County's history. I have a whole room for civil rights. I have a whole room for the Battle of Selma. We have a bow and quiver that Geronimo made when he was in prison in Mount Vernon, which is South Alabama.
The museum was probably the highlight in Selma. Feeling the history there and learning about what really went on in Selma, there's a lot here.
Good morning from the St. James Hotel here in Selma, Alabama. I'm really looking forward to some more dirt here in the Southeast.
Day 2, we leave Selma, and then we get into the Tallaladega National Forest. Fairly dirt heavy, we're gaining altitude. We've already gained 500 feet or so, and before the day's over, we'll be at least to 1,000 feet. I can't keep up with Brian. He's on a 790, I'm on my 701, but he lives 10 miles from here. So everything we're going to be riding today, and part of what we rode yesterday, we give Brian full credit.
It's just so cool. We just came out of a really hot, sweeping section of gravel. Then you pop out onto this paved road right here. Just big, expansive views, and you really tell what kind of elevation we've picked up.
We've got chicken and turkey, some fruit.
Did you just whip this up right on the side of the road here?
Right here.
What's your favorite American junk food that you can't get back home?
Twinkies. The food is special here in the South. They like the food fried pickles, fried tomatoes, fried. We didn't have fried cake, but I was thinking about, frying a cake. So.
Candy cigarettes, Big League Chew, the gazillionaire sauce. Maybe that's what you need to be putting on your steak.
I definitely need this. Guys not long ago said, "Where do we eat?" And I said, "On your tailgate." I said, "Got it."
And you're open year-round?
Yep.
And that's because of
deer season?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your busiest day you've had in terms of number of deer coming in?
Last year we took in close to 60 one day.
You have another operation here. What do you sell there?
Hard liquor. But we know everybody's creatures and habits, and we know all their needs, and we pretty much know.
You have repeat business, don't you?
Every day. Every day. Same people, same stuff.
The fun little forest section here. Kind of a 2-track with some whoop-de-doos and some water bars.
I like it going, especially this time of year, because we had all the leaves on the ground, and as we were coming through and the riders in front of me, all the leaves were going up in the air, and it was just really pretty.
The pinnacle of American cuisine, the Twinkie. Wow, it kind of reflects also the group here. Soft on the outside and kind of sweet.
Aww.
Don't see big groups like this just out here in the middle of Coosa County very often, so yeah, I'm kind of lucky to have all this kind of just 10 miles or so from where I live, but there's all kind of little back roads and trails and stuff like that through here.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for stopping and saying hi.
Sure.
Nice running into you.
Awesome to meet you guys. It really is.
Safe ride. We'll catch you again.
Yep.
Going up to the top of Flag Mountain here.
So probably my favorite point of interest on this route is an observation tower built by the CCC. Getting there around golden hour in the afternoon was really, really special. So when we got to the top of the observation tower, we hung the BDR flag loud and proud, and we were able to have that experience with our crew and be proud of our route here.
Oh, just beautiful. Look at this light. We're gonna go and do a little bit of an alternative, harder loop.
You don't have to take this part of the track. You can take the main route. It's really pretty though, especially right now with the trees turning.
You got to be on your guard because conditions can change quite rapidly.
Oh yeah, yeah, you don't want to get in that.
I am riding a brand new 2024 Pan America 1250 Special. It performs really, really well, and it handles like any modern adventure bike should handle. Very happy to be on it.
I'm pretty sure that this at some point is a pretty sizable puddle.
It's usually like a lake of these gigantic mud puddles with ditches, and you don't know where to go. It's just it's all a big brown thing.
It was fun, fun, fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can imagine it'd be really difficult if it was wet.
And we got just enough time to get to our lodging for tonight.
What a day.
A little tired, but it was a great day.
About 175 miles, but it was great the whole time.
Thanks for letting us be here.
It's like a hostel takeover.
I know.
We've got full amenities, so we offer the hostel with 6 beds. We have a kitchen, bathroom, laundry, all the things that you would need to refresh, rejuvenate, and get back on the trail.
We were basically in a rustic hiker's hut, sleeping in bunk beds, dealing with the snoring and all the things that come with hanging out with your favorite buddies in a group lodging setting like that.
We have marinated chicken to follow up with the corn.
You're doing a bang-up job.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Just had breakfast and some coffee. Ready to take on the adventure today.
It might even rain a little bit, which would be okay.
Yeah, a little tacky, maybe some hero dirt out in the woods.
Hero dirt, yeah, I love it. So it's day 3. We continue to have more dirt than we did the first day. So we're getting dirtier, we're getting higher, we're getting more technical, we're gonna have an all harder. It's gonna be a good day, and we'll cross into the state of Georgia at the very end of the day.
It's been fun for us because y'all are a different kind of outdoor experience for us, so it's good to be able to add that to our niche.
Business owners and the communities that we're traveling through are already starting to get excited because they're starting to learn a little bit about what we're all about and what BDR potentially brings to their community.
They're very excited that we might be bringing more adventure riders through their community.
I know that BDR riders will have some meaningful economic impact over time.
Here we go, on to the dirt. For right now, we're up in the mountains of Alabama. It's going to be some higher elevation riding. Beautiful fall colors starting to emerge up here as we wind our way through the leaf-covered back roads of Alabama.
Now we get into the foothills of the Appalachian Mountain Range.
We start off on a great national forest road. Got a lot of embedded rocks. You have to pick your line through them. It's just, you can't just go straight through. You have to go to the right, the left, kind of work your way around.
We're going to have an alt harder, and it's probably my favorite alt harder because it's lengthy. Most alt harders on this trip are relatively short.
If you would find yourself going onto the harder alternative, then you should probably be quite comfortable riding over ledges or loose rocks.
Yeah, this is good. This is the first technical section on this route. Lots of terrain here, lots of texture.
You got to be on your A game. Look ahead, pick a line, and then execute.
This is probably the most fun so far on this ride, and in just such a beautiful, beautiful environment up here.
The minute you think you can gain a little speed,
You see a sharp-edged rock and you realize you should stay in a lower gear.
Come on, do it, do it, do it. Go right through.
No, 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 no. Oh yeah, we've got a view.
That was fun.
It was super fun.
Playing with the rocks, and there's really one good line, which means the other two get the not good line, and that just made it super fun.
We like to call that spirited. That was a spirited.
It was a spirited pace.
Up on the lookout, we were lucky enough to have a good reception. As a coincidence, my wife called and my two little kids, and we had a small video call up there, which was very pleasant.
We climbed maybe 1,500 feet from sea level, and before we're done here today, we'll climb to 2,500 feet and then continue on. We'll cross into Georgia before the day's over.
So I lost the side stand magnet, so I carried a spare dongle, they're called. So we were ready to fix it on the trail. It only took about 5 or 10 minutes, and we're back on the ride now.
Oh, Kirk. Gee, he's been so busy planning the route, he hasn't had time to take care of his motorcycle. Thank you. You're welcome. How's your day?
Excellent.
You got us some lunch. You picked a great spot for lunch.
I got to head on back where I can go to work tomorrow.
Have you enjoyed riding with the group?
I loved it.
I'll see you soon.
We have another dog story here in the makings. Yum. Yeah, you're hungry, huh?
3 bowls of water up here, full bellies, and they're very loving, so I think they're happy.
This is a hard place to get to. This is a cemetery in the middle of the national forest that goes back to, we think, the 1700s. We have at least one Confederate soldier grave.
He was born in 1830 and died in 1914.
We were up at that cemetery and I put my vlog camera on my top of my pannier. Then we all got on our bikes and we rode away, and I left it on the top of my saddlebag.
You guys gonna go back for the camera?
Got my eyes peeled for anything in the road. Oh, I found it. I found it. Someone picked it up and put it on a stump. Look at that. Woohoo! There we go. Yeah, dude, for sure. Right on.
So we just crossed the border from Alabama into Georgia at Highland Park Motorcycle Off-Road Resort. It's a off-road riding facility in Georgia that caters to dirt bikes with single-track trails, a map of the trail system, overnight camping, and they have small cabins and a bathhouse. They also have a mechanic on duty and parts and oil, and so it's a point that we wanted to note for the riders who might need these kinds of accommodations or camping spot or some assistance. It's also a multi-line dealership.
We love visitors. We love all of the tourism and everything. You come here as strangers, but you leave as friends.
Whether it's the strangers we've met while we've been riding or the people that have been at the hotels and the restaurants, the people, they're so nice and friendly.
We really worked hard to have our logical stopover points be very small communities. We purposely stayed away from the major cities.
Stagecoach Pizza Co. Bought this building in 2 years ago. 30s, 40s, 50s, it was a drugstore. 70s, it was a florist, and it was a photography studio. We had a vision, we had a dream, and that we wanted a pizza shop. Took us 2 years, and just created a pizza place. It's going great. We have been truly blessed.
We're going to the famous Cave Spring, one of the purest water sources in the nation.
The spring itself, that's where we get all our drinking water from in this area. People are over there every day getting jugs of water to take home with them.
It comes straight out of the ground and it provides drinking water for, I think, at least 2 counties. It was used by the Native Americans. People come from wide and far to actually drink the Cave Spring water directly out of the ground, and that's what we're about to do. I'm going to use it all day long, and tomorrow I would look hopefully 10 years younger because I understand this is the fountain of youth.
I've lived here my whole life. I'm 144 years old.
You'll live forever.
You're looking great, man. Well, thank you.
This little section right here is called Jenkins Extension. It's a lot of fun, a little rocky.
Oh, we're so close now. The final ascent, baby.
This is a very pretty overlook. It's an optional ride up here, but it's probably worth it.
And really taking in the view and just enjoying the outdoors. We've had beautiful weather, and I hope that BDR riders experience what we're experiencing on this expedition. It's been fabulous.
Getting to try shrimp and grits, blackened catfish, collard greens. It's been really fun to try different food.
That is a rack and a half. Oh!
The food's a little different, delicious, and nice to try, you know?
So this afternoon, we're going to be riding through the backwoods of northwestern Georgia. This is an area called the Narrows. Not the best traction, you're slipping and sliding. Interesting section in the woods here of Georgia. Really nice forest road. There's a creek or a river flowing through the woods here. Cool, what do we have here? Old fire engine, huh?
Lloyd's fire truck in the middle of the National Forest is an iconic spot. Seems like everyone who's on a motorcycle, they all want to stop here at this fire truck and get a photograph.
They don't eat, they don't sleep. Nope. All they do is film.
We found Tim's cell phone and we're gonna actually prank him. So we gave it to Mr. Harley Davidson right here.
Dude, it was right there. Who's got it? It was right there.
What? Don't put things on your pen here, Tim.
Give me my phone. I know.
I don't have it.
I know what you. I can tell in your eyes. I know those eyes. I'm supposed to be keeping this expedition on the rails, and I keep throwing it off the rails.
This is cool. We're in some kind of campground. Here's some cute little cabins.
They make homemade meals. They have Wi-Fi available, all these different cabins that you can stay in with bathhouses. They have, I think, a laundry service.
By partnering with their local bike shops, they can get you a rental mountain bike here, shuttle you up to the top, you can go rip some single track, and then get back on the BDR the next day.
All in all, it's a tailor-made BDR location, and we're really glad that we got this in here.
Fruit, bacon, grits, eggs, granola, yogurt. It was amazing.
That is our lunch package from today. I didn't make it. It got made for us. I feel like a pro rider here.
It's you and me on the vlog camera.
Oh, yeah.
We are in LJ, Georgia, and it is actually the touch point of the Chattahoochee BDRX. So riders would actually have the option to make a detour and ride the Chattahoochee BDRX all the way across the northern part of Georgia and then hop back on the main route and continue northward.
We're about to feed me caffeine.
Oh.
So let the games begin.
On rides like this, you just can't get enough caffeine. I see they have a poster here just for you.
Doesn't matter how slow you go, as long as you don't stop.
This is a cute town. The fudge shop.
Since it's fall themed right now, it's a pumpkin Danish. Pumpkin Danish. Pumpkin.
Pumpkin spice macaron right here.
Mm-hmm. Did you just lick it? You just licked it?
Wow, it's cool and misty up here right now. This is going to be a really interesting, fun, beautiful ride.
It's not dusty anymore, but it's a bit foggy.
It was like being in a jungle. It was so amazing and beautiful and just not what I'm used to.
Seems like we're getting a little bit of that Smoky Mountain fog.
It's knocked all the dust down, but it sure has added an element of difficulty with the slippery leaves and rocks just obscured under that leaf layer.
This is new to me to see all the leaves down. I'm not used to riding in such a thick coating of leaves.
Hey, yeah, that was a real cool section. I was following you, and it kind of felt like we were surfing the leaves.
It did.
It was so cool, and just, you know, the whole scenery is just great.
Like these vines hanging down, they give it quite a jungle feeling in here.
We're over halfway, and we have 3 or 4 days of largely dirt remaining for this particular expedition.
Fall is such a great time to ride here. It's stunning. The leaves are falling. It's nice because we're under the canopy most of the day, so it's nice and cool. A little bit of moisture on the ground, so it's nice and tacky.
My name's Kyle Kirschman. I am from Tellico Plains, Tennessee, and I am one of the local route experts that helped put the route together with Kirk.
So Kyle, you've ridden, I think, the entire SEBDR. Give me your impressions thus far.
Here we're just riding on the native rock, and down in Florida we were riding on sand, and we're just all rock up here.
So let's talk about the riding season.
I actually prefer riding in the winter up here because once all the leaves are down, you can actually see a whole lot more of the mountains.
This is the line of demarcation between Tennessee and Georgia.
Next cool thing we're going to ride is called Tumbling Creek Road. It's down in the valley, so it's a lot tighter. The road's often kind of wet and be a little bit rocky.
Well, when I first came in here, probably about 2.5 years ago, came up across a section, I was like, rocky. Came across another section, even more rocky. And then the next section was even more, so it's super rocky. So it's all rocky right now.
It's nice to have a little bit lighter bike so I can flick it around. There was some moisture on the ground this morning. Some of the rocks were pretty wet. You can't see them under the leaves. And I hit a couple, and I had, both wheels trying to take off. You have those little like, oh no moments, but they're gone. So yeah, so far so good.
I hope my wife's never going to see this because I'm normally not allowed to eat that stuff.
I don't know how, but I have a flat.
That looks like a flat.
It was kind of a messy process, and everybody was jumping in and trying to help. But sometimes you have 8 hands when you only need 2 or 3.
What's about your hair?
I can only imagine.
Are you trying to look like Sterling?
Yeah. It was wonderful to see everybody rally around, no matter what happened.
I got a new tube. I'm good for another 1,000 miles.
Look at this place right here on the river. And you got the barbecue going.
We've got poke steaks. I don't actually think I've ever slept in a chuck wagon before, but I'm kind of excited about it. I like the look of this thing. I left my bedroom slippers home, so you got to make do with what you got.
My name is Dustin Whelan. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm here on the South East BDR with Revzilla and Triumph. I'm doing a series on adventure riding and learning how to become a better adventure rider. Today I'm riding the Tiger 900 Rally Pro.
Hats off to Dustin. He shows up in a taxi in the middle of the woods. He walks in, clean as clean can be. He's ready to join the crowd. And I'm like, how is this gonna go?
His gear was clean and he looked very tailored, and I thought, well, let's see.
We're at this beautiful overlook, which is I think over 2,000 feet. And we can see into Georgia. We can see mountain peaks in the distance. And we're going to continue on into Tennessee today. It's going to be a great ride. Probably the most action-packed of all our rides.
The experience I had with Triumph's Adventure Experience course really helped just because it instills the fundamentals that you need for riding off-road. Being able to jump right in and being able to ride, it's really invaluable to get that extra training before you get out here.
There's lots of hunters out here today.
And it's actually bear season, and it's still hog season because the feral hogs who live here in the Southeast are not native. We'd like to have them eradicated.
We just keep calling you yard dog, but who are you? Do you belong to someone? Would you like to come home with us? I think you would fit on the back of somebody's bike.
So what do you think so far? 1 hour into the ride today?
Oh, it's great. Rocky, which is fun, actually. There's some mud puddles out there, which honestly, you guys are all pretty dirty, so I need to catch up to you. So I'm trying to hit as many as possible.
Wow, respect to this guy. Just came in and he just rocked it.
We put him in the point position and told him which way to go. Without hesitation, he jumped on that Triumph and led the team. And to his credit, he rode like a champ the whole time. And I think Triumph should be pretty happy with their choice of riders.
You were just telling us that you didn't have a lot of damage from the hurricane.
No, we had lots of rain, but nothing.
And it's really incredible that just a couple hours north they got hit so hard.
It is, and we were worried we were going to get it, but we didn't.
I got to ask you a little bit about this store. This thing's been around since the 30s?
Open for business third Sunday of May in 1936.
36.
We've been in this building since 56. I grew up in the back of the store. We all lived in the back.
Oh, you lived back in the back?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And it was a post office for many years, right?
60-something years. My uncle was postmaster for 40 years, and my sister was postmaster until they closed it.
Little forestry work happening out here in the woods. All right, guys. Woo!
It's about a 4-mile detour off the main track to take this extension down here into the Hiawassee River. This little powerhouse we're approaching, called Appalachia Powerhouse, was created to utilize water from the Hiawassee further upstream. But it's historic, it's important, but it's the last place I can imagine finding a powerhouse out here in the middle of the forest like it is. They created a community out here to build all this, so they put housing. People lived here for years as they were doing all the construction. This structure is actually known as the alien launch pad. It's such a weird structure. Yeah, it looks like an alien landing pad, I guess.
I have a feeling we're going to get into some more technical challenges here at the end. Lots of leaves cover on the ground here. Very difficult to see what's on the road surface.
I really like this bike. I think the thing that makes a difference and separates it is the ride mode, and in particular the off-road ride mode. It gives you just the right amount of slip on the rear wheel, so you can spin it up a little bit, steer with it, and get a little bit loose, but not to the point where I feel in over my head and I feel like I'm going to dump it or something.
This is Buck Bald. You get a great view of a couple of states. It's quite spectacular, particularly this time of year.
Continuing our theme of beautiful backcountry paved roads, cool old houses and cabins, very pleasant, scenic backcountry journey today.
Coming up right here, we have an alt-harder track. We get to do Whit Road, which is famous for its 4 water crossings.
I describe the first creek crossing as an alligator back because it has these ridges that run in the direction of travel, and it's also very slippery. It has moss. Whit Road is pretty popular, not just with motorcyclists. You have the locals out with their 4-wheel drives and their pickup trucks who love to play in these creeks. They're pretty aggressive. They'll move the stuff around too and change the features. It's all part of the game.
What are you guys doing out here today?
Raising hail. Messing trucks up, that's about it.
How about you? What are you doing out here today?
The same thing as him, just trying to tear that truck up. I'm in the black flatbed.
How's it going? You tearing it up?
I did tear it up. I had to plug a bunch of stuff up and rewash some things right quick.
Well, at least you got it all cleaned off now.
Yeah, I got it going too. I pulled it up there.
Right on.
Well, you're welcome. You have a good one.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
You guys have a good ride. With water crossing, I prefer not to think about it too much because then it gets inside your head.
What rock is where in the grooves changes every time the flow changes in the creek. Depending on the water flow and the time of year and how much algae is growing on it, it can be very slippery.
It's a challenge. You can be a great rider and have a bad day on Whit Road. You can be a sloppy rider and have a great day.
Here's another big creek crossing.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I did. I really did stall it.
They did a really good job of preparing us for those water crossings, so I was very happy to complete them and honestly to get them over with.
Did I mention today is Halloween? There we go. We've got some trick-or-treaters. Looks like we're staying in a farmhouse.
My wife and I own the farmhouse inn in Tellico Plains, so obviously we're very motorcycle friendly, always have been.
Look at this thing. It's like a big pom-pom. I am in heaven right now.
Family who owned this farm, I think, settled here in like the mid-1850s. And this is one of the original houses on the farm.
We are in what we like to call the BDR bubble, which means once you're out on a BDR, you forget about everything. You just forget what time it is, what day of week it is.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Today is about 100 miles, pavement, twisty, more gravel.
So we're fueling up, and some of the guys are opting to put on their rain gear.
It will rain. I'm sure at some point you will also get hot because you're starting at sea level. Pack accordingly.
The real benefit here is that it's still 65 degrees out.
We are on the Big Santitla section. We're at the historic Stewart Cabin, which is an old homestead cabin. And a lot of people like to stop and take a little break and imagine living in these quarters with no facilities of any kind back in the day.
So we just got off the Cherahela Skyway.
Awesome. Having the best time of our lives.
Beautiful day.
Whoa, that's a big one.
I'm on a big bike riding the Harley-Davidson Pan America, and this thing has been just charging hard. The Pan Americas are the only full-size bikes on the route this time. You know, on bikes that have different ride modes, it's a good time to think about maybe changing what ride mode you're in into a little bit more conservative mode. Let that bike help you out a little bit. When you're not feeling it, when your hands are all wet or starting to get cold, there's nothing better than letting the bike take away some of that trepidation.
It's a little soggy. It's a little hard to see. There's some fog up at the top of one of these mountains. Bringing down the pace so we don't slide out or make any unnecessary mistakes. We're having a blast. We're chit-chatting, keeping each other company, and the adventure goes on. Well, we woke up to a slight chance of showers.
Fresh squeezed glove juice.
I've never ridden off-road in the rain. It's a challenge, but you know, that's what makes it fun.
And this is what we have coming up ahead. It's like turn, 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 turn.
We are Porterhouse Road. Porterfield? I'm just thinking Porterhouse. When you got good company, good motorcycles, fuel in the belly, fuel in the gas tank, it's hard to go wrong no matter what Mother Nature's giving you. You know, the scenery is incredible, the fog out in the trees, the autumn leaves, all this stuff is super awesome for the senses. But boy, you can hardly take your eyes off the road. We got the 2-track going here. There's traction under there, but you don't feel it right away, and so it's super unnerving. I've definitely been feeling pretty tentative here.
Just came in out of the rain at Maria's Diner.
Found out that I didn't dress very well today, so I've got water wicking throughout all of my layers.
Got onto this paved road, and this just could not be more beautiful. Curvy North Carolina mountain roads. This is something else.
Nantahala Outdoor Center is famous. It's been around for 40 or 50 years. Kayaking, mountain biking, other facilities that do rafting and other outdoor activities across the way. So this is a kind of outdoor mecca in the mountains of North Carolina.
Coming close to the end of day 7 here. It's been raining all day. Now the rain has broke, cruising along, the roads are drying up, and a good day nonetheless.
Yeehaw!
Nantahala means the land of the noonday sun.
Sun only shows through at midday.
Midday.
Right? Yeah. But this whole gorge is a very special place, isn't it?
Very special.
And you have a restaurant, I believe, in here.
We have actually 2 restaurants and 2 bars.
It was a good time. We had movie night after dinner. Terminator 2 was on.
Hasta la vista, baby.
It's getting along with the same group of people, you know. I'm definitely sad that we're rolling out for the last day.
Get into the chopper.
How much work did we have to do on these bikes, and like, was there a lot of maintenance going on here during this 8 days?
We had one spare one flat tire. Who was that?
turned on to Winding Stairs Road, and we are climbing up this gorge. Winding Stairs Road was super fun and scenic. Man, looking down the little cliff drops to the creek below was super stunning.
It is so beautiful. Look at that, look at that. Hard to stay on the road.
We are at the Appalachian Trail crossing, but we're going to be passing over the Appalachian Trail the entire remainder of the route. And actually, if you continue on in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, you'd cross it countless times.
We didn't really see anyone getting ready to do any through hiking. I think it's a little late in the season for that, but very cool to have that iconic Appalachian Trail crossing to what will be iconic South East BDR. So now we've just dipped down probably 200-300 feet in elevation from the summit, and the colors are just popping. This is some really spectacular riding right now. At this point in the ride, I'm just not ready to quit. I wish we had 3 more days ahead of us. I really am feeling it. Oh man, you guys are gonna be in heaven up here, Tim.
Well, I couldn't be happier right now. Look at you, hi. You're the young one with all the energy, huh? Yeah. So how many do you have all together?
We got 12 total.
That's a lot of mouths to feed, huh?
Yeah, but they're worth it.
Oh, of course.
They're my babies.
What you all hunting for today? Rabbit.
Bye-bye, it was nice to meet you. I have been in heaven. Adventure bikes and dogs.
Everybody's excited to kind of end this thing because it kind of had enough of me, which I can understand. If you want to live, follow me.
Okay.
Guys, where's my helmet?
What'd you do with your helmet?
Where is it?
Well, we're in the town of Maggie Valley. It's in the heart of the Appalachian Mountain Range and the Smokies here in North Carolina. We're at the famous motorcycle museum known as Wheels Through Time, with motorcycles dating back to the very early 1900s. And they're all restored to be functional. You can crank and actually ride these motorcycles. You're allowed to get up close, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun. It's become a must-see museum for motorcyclists traveling through the area. SEBDR route comes right by this location. Well, we elected at this point, given Hurricane Helene and the damage that was done, to end the route for this expedition in Maggie Valley.
It's kind of like having like the best movie ever, but you had to leave the theater in the middle of it.
What we plan to do is, when appropriate, we will come back here and film the remaining 3 sections of the route and look forward to everyone enjoying this route in its original intent.
Well, we are back in Maggie Valley. This is end of April of 25, so yeah, 6 months after we ended the first part.
6 months earlier, when we were doing the original documentary, we were unable to proceed past this point because of Hurricane Helene.
This was a unique experience for the production of a BDR, in that we did it in 2 parts. We've never done that before.
In the fall, we just didn't feel like it was appropriate to be leaving Maggie Valley and getting into the recovery area. We're so happy 6 months later to see all of these communities reopening, but they are open for business and they're hungry to see tourism.
One of the greatest things about what I witnessed after Hurricane Helene was the amount of resilience that people showed and the amount of care that people took for one another.
Personally, I am very excited to have 2 new riders for the last 3 sections of this route.
Rob Pack is an ambassador out of Johnson City, Tennessee.
I'm excited for everybody to ride it. I think we're going to have some really positive feedback from it.
Also, Thomas Montgomery, who owns Eurosport in Asheville.
I think it's going to give people good insight as to what we've actually got around the area. This is some stuff that a lot of people don't know about.
It's even Maggie Valley and heading into Tallaladega, which just reopened, so we have the track intact from the original intended track.
So Rob, tell me a little bit about what's ahead today.
It's roughly 50 miles of gravel roads, then go into some double track. And then this is Great Smoky Mountains National Park, Cataloochee section. Bears are frequently sighted out here. See turkey all the time, of course white-tailed deer. And be careful, by the way, of the elk. They're enormous creatures if you're not aware. And look at this beautiful river. It's one-lane bridge. What a day.
So here we're crossing the Mount Sterling Trail, and we are having fun. You may come across some downed trees. Just being mindful of watching around corners, staying to the right, and keeping your speed at a reasonable level.
So this shows where they're putting the road back together. See all the debris cleanup. Yeah, this is super wet after a rain. We'll get into some deeper ruts a little further in.
We're in the Martha Sunquist Forest. We're getting ready to get on a road called Chestnut Ridge. It's pretty great, and it is it's a little spicier than what we've been on so far, and it's got some kind of channels and some berms and stuff you can kind of get up on, some good turns, some rocks. This is a nice little section. It's got a lot of texture to it. A little slippery, a rocky little hill here, a little sandy corner right there. A bunch of loose rocks up here, gentlemen. One right in the middle of the track.
So we are on Section 8, and we just came up Chestnut Ridge Road, and it's nothing overly technical, but just enough texture to keep you on your toes, and a lot of fun. Look forward to it, guys.
And this is the last bit of dirt after the kind of the end of that 50-mile section, and then we're going to pop right out into the neighborhood, so careful about your speed. This is Rob, and we're riding down into the town of Hot Springs. It was a town that was damaged significantly by Helene. The Appalachian Trail goes right through the middle of it.
Last fall, we were supposed to stay in this town, and Hurricane Helene brought so much destruction that the town was basically shut down. So this is a really great place. We hope that everyone stops through and supports this town and keep helping to get it back on its feet.
You can see the road closed sign still partially up. The route has been repaired, and we can continue going north.
It's been a beautiful day. Section 8 and 9 have just been a dream so far. Behind me is a little swimming hole and waterfall that's going to be real popular when it starts to get really hot.
Every now and then you'll get some chunky stuff right here, like right here, where you just gotta pick your line. Definitely want to keep your eyes out. There's a few sections that have a few ruts.
We are at Rich Mountain Fire Tower. It's been around for, I don't know, maybe getting close to 100 years, I'm guessing. But local trail clubs, Appalachian Trail crosses right through here, and volunteers have kept it going, and they've done a nice job. It's a great 360-degree view. We can see North Carolina, we can see Tennessee from here. It's just, it's almost a must-see stopover.
All right, we're here on Cedar Cliff Road, just outside Irwin, Tennessee, and it's a lovely 2-track through some farmland. There's a bunch of cows.
It's like an apartment. Kitchenette. They have Pop-Tarts in there, so we're squared away.
Nice. I'm very impressed.
Had a great night of sleep here in these glamping tents, and we're gonna go run into Irwin, grab some coffee, and get on with our day.
And this is where the Nolichucky River came way out of its banks, flooded all this, including the hospital, which had, I think it was 58 people on top of it that had to be rescued by helicopter. Some dramatic video on YouTube if you want to check that out. We are meeting up with some folks who have completed the Southeast Backcountry Discovery Route, and we're going to chat with them and have a good conversation.
This is, to my knowledge, the first all-woman group to complete the Southeast BDR. So huge congratulations, guys. I mean, awesome.
We have picked up more bikes in the last 10 days than you can possibly imagine. What do you think?
It was an awesome route. A definite crescendo. The routes, the sections get better and better every single day.
Everyone came out every time we got to the end. There were a lot of high fives and fist bumps and ear-to-ear grins, and it was great.
It's a highly traveled road, and you can get up here and everything from a Corolla to your big boy Jeeps, but you see them all up here. If the top of the mountain looks dark green, that's a tall mountain. It's got spruce pine on it, and those tend to grow over the altitude of 5,000 feet above sea level. And it's a beautiful area, but we're getting sort of the benefit of being able to see pretty far because no trees are really obscuring our view too much. Yeah, you can see the road that we traveled on the ridge of that mountain right there, going down into the valley here. We're looking over toward North Carolina, so over toward the Blue Ridge, but this is the Central Appalachian Range, and we're north of the Smoky Mountains.
I can see this being a little tricky when it's wet out, but it's super fun. It's nice to break up the flat gravel roads with a little bit of chunkiness.
So this is an alt harder section, and it's called a Hogum Harlow. It's kind of ledgy. It's got some consequences to the right. That's really why it's probably alt harder. And if you got any experience with some more difficult terrain on an adventure bike, you'll be fine.
Slick, sharp, wet right-hander, bottom of the hill.
And we are going through an area that was really heavily hit by the hurricane. Some debris flows there. Yeah, there you go. That's a good example of the landslide.
Betsy's Old Country Store was built in 1924. Had two big old gas pumps sitting out here, you know, the kind you twirl and pump it full of gas and then put it in your Model T or your Model A. It survived the 1940 flood. It was just, you know, hit and miss after that. But I ain't going nowhere till I'm dead. Did you hear that? I ain't going nowhere till I'm dead.
Just south of Grandfather Mountain, having a nice day. It hasn't rained on us yet, so yeah, having a wonderful view here at the falls.
Okay, we're in Banner Elk. Banner Elk sustained significant damage, and so we're going to go by the Elk River a little bit later, and you'll see some of the damage there.
Stayed at Mountain View Motorcycle Campground last night. Rob does snore. He does snore.
Wee little bit.
Mark, the owner, has scavenged a swing arm nut, and lo and behold, we're repairing the bike. And this is like a NASCAR pit stop, by the way. We'll be finished in about 2 minutes.
I've got a full shop. If someone needs a tire change, they can find pretty much anything they need.
We try to provide as many conveniences and amenities as possible.
So we started the BDR about a week ago, the Southeast BDR, and ended up finishing in 6.5 days, more or less, on dual sport bikes.
For both of us, it was our first BDR. We did good. We managed to put in all the optional sections as well.
And it was a lot of fun. Some segments were more challenging than others. But between the scenery and the small towns and everything it takes you through, it was a lot of fun.
Here we are just exiting Banner Elk, and we are on our way to Damascus.
We're in what I think is maybe the prettiest street section of the entire SEBDR.
Looks like we're in New England or, northeast parts. It just reminds me a lot of Connecticut and Vermont.
They had some storm damage on this little road. It's amazing how much progress these guys have made.
So here's one of the bridges that is out. You can see the main bridge is definitely broken, and we have a little newly constructed bridge until the main one gets reconstructed.
It's a remarkable place. People are resilient, very, very tough. Central Appalachian folks, wonderful community. I just wanted to call it out. You can see where the river cut into the road significantly here. And of course there's a landslide to my right. It's a good old climb right here. Here we go.
So we're here on the final day of our expedition. We just came up White Oak Road, which is an alt harder. It was a lot of fun, maybe a couple of miles, just very textured, rocky, kind of loose climb. Absolutely doable in a big bike, but it was a lot of fun, and I think it was a great add to this final day of our expedition.
This is Walnut Mountain Road, connecting back up with the top of Heaton Branch. It's kind of steep gravel road with switchbacks, but it's not hard. Beautiful views from up here. Coming back down into East Tennessee. And we are nearing the end of the SEBDR. We have long dirt section here for quite some time. Pretty well traveled road. Be careful, ride right, ride respectfully. It's a section that actually a lot of Jeeps and a lot of gravel bikes will be out here. These kind of trees are very dangerous. At some point they fall. Create a little bit of a hassle for cleanup.
We only have about 40-something miles left, and it's a nice day today, and it's very scenic and fun coming into the very end of this very long route, but it's been quite a journey, and we've enjoyed every inch of it.
We're going up beginning part of Government Road. This is one of the last two dirt sections.
All of a sudden, things are feeling a little squishy, and I realized I got a flat tire. Here's what we have, like a 3-inch deck screw.
Okay, we're turning on to McQueen Gap Road. Nicely graveled, a couple of switchbacks. At the very top, you got a little bit of exposure off to your right, which is really nice. And that's yet another Appalachian Trail crossing.
So we are at the end of the SEBDR. Awesome job. Congratulations, man.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. You deserve the cape, the BDR cape. Good job, brother. Put it up there.
That's awesome.
Great job.
Thank you guys so much.
Monty, thank you for the hard
It takes a
work.
team. It takes a team.
Thanks, Rob.
I'm just thrilled people are out riding it. I hope this route lasts a long, long time.
We have now connected officially to the start of the MidAtlantic BDR and onward to the Northeast BDR. So the East Coast trilogy is complete.
That's right.
It is.
We are a tourist town. We have many trails all over, hiking, biking.
We're excited that the BDR really chose Damascus as the start for the Mid-Atlantic and the ending point for the Southeastern Trail.
I cannot wait to see people riding this route, and I hope that my grandkids are riding this route and other routes in the coming years.
It's a long route. It's 1,300 miles. Study the website, look at our interactive maps, join our Facebook group pages. You'll get up-to-date information about the route conditions.
There's nothing like getting out there and challenging your skills and definitely exploring some of these remote towns and pick a route and get out there and do it. It's going to be the best experience you ever had.
It's something that can't be replaced very easily. And that's really, I think, the true heart and soul of BDR.
I think like others, I didn't expect to, just kind of bond and pair up with everybody on the trip. That's been the funnest part.
It went great, I thought. Nobody got hurt.
It's a beautiful route. You're going to go through various accents of the Southeast, and food and terrain changes throughout this journey.
Me being from Austria, the remoteness that you can find in some places, that's really something interesting or fascinating to see or experience.
It was great just to be able to both lead and follow. I'm just happy to take this home and start to apply it more regularly so that it does, become more second nature to me.
To put 7 to 10 days together with people that you enjoy, seeing things that you wouldn't see without being on a bike and going and finding it, I mean, that's the reward.
I hope that when people finish this route, that they come away with a different perspective on Central Appalachia and the Deep South.
Well, Tim?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I hope that you all enjoyed watching that film, and because we surely enjoyed making it.
That was an absolute blast, man.
Yeah,
you know? We talked about me being with the BDR for 6 years. 0 invites on expeditions. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah.
Things are changing.
Things are changing, yeah.
Eric, you're on this side of the camera.
That's
making
right.
Your way,
That's it, yeah.
Don't be surprised, folks, if you see this mug pretty soon.
That's right, yeah, for better or worse.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the more you donate, the less likely it is that I'll show up. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, right. But let's talk about it. What do we have here?
So, hey, this is this anniversary map. We've talked about it a couple of times on the broadcast here, but you all like these routes? You all like what you're seeing on this map?
Yeah.
We need your support to continue to do exactly this. And if we have, with Bryce's help, we're going to have twice the amount of routes in 5 years.
That's it. I mean, there's so much opportunity out there. And actually, stick around. Don't tune out just yet, because we actually have a 3-minute teaser to the Texas Hill Country BDRX.
Bam, right there.
Which is going to be coming in October. So the Big Bend BDRX was such a hit.
Yeah.
We had to go back to Texas, give folks something in sort of the middle part of the country that they could get to.
I think this is the first time we've ever actually shown the tracks before we
That's
launched
true,
the route.
yeah.
So people are going to be out there overlaying it on
Don't
Google
zoom
Maps.
in.
Don't do that.
Don't guess. Right. Yeah.
It's still going to be a surprise, but we can't do that without your help.
That's
it. And that's on a couple of different levels. It's the help from our community.
Yep.
Right. And we thank 80% of our funding comes from you, our community, and we are so appreciative of that. But the other percentage comes from our sponsors, and we should really mention who helped us put this route together.
Yeah, a huge number of sponsors support each and every route, but presenting sponsors for this route, of course, were Harley Davidson with the Pan America, Triumph America with the Tiger, and then of course Idlewild Bike Travel, who has been a longtime supporter.
Yeah,
so.
take me to the chopper.
That's right.
Yeah, everybody loves him. We enjoyed. That's the second expedition I was able to hang out with Toby on. He's awesome.
It is, and all that stuff goes such a long way. So thanks to the sponsors, and we just flashed on the screen some of our other sponsors too, because it really does take a village. So,
it does, absolutely. And I just want to shout out to Triumph. I got a chance to ride the Tiger.
Yeah,
I didn't in the first part of the film, but they're like, "Hey, Tim, you want to give it a go on the Tiger?" And I said, "Sure."
Yeah, absolutely,
and, I really enjoyed it, and maybe you got to see me ride a little bit in the film. But it's a great bike, and thanks to Triumph USA for lending this bike and a bunch of other bikes.
Yeah,
and of course, that's no diss to Harley. Harley was a big contributor as well, and Justin was so much fun.
So much fun, yeah.
He is such a character and such a great rider, and that bike.
It's so much fun to ride.
That bike rocks.
It really is fun.
I got a chance to ride that bike at an event not long ago, and I was super impressed by the Harley.
100%. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just looking over here. We just switched cameras so we could kind of see this perspective, but we did get a few questions during the chat.
Yeah.
And why don't we bring in Ambassador Rob Pack, who was featured in the film, particularly in the second half here, so we can chat with Rob. So, Rob, come on in here, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's hot. That's ready to go.
We're going to get this fired up. All right, Rob. So, great job in the film, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pretty much narrated it. He took over for Kirk in this section, I think, and did a lot of the narration. So thank you. And probably the big reason for that is you're local, right?
I am. Yeah. I live in Johnson City, Tennessee.
Yeah. So a lot of this top part of this route was your handiwork?
Well, my handiwork along with Kirk, and Kirk did a lot of work in advance, and Thomas and my friends Hunter and Jeff and Brent. I'm gonna give them a shout out real quick.
That's
and
fine.
Robbie.
Yeah. It takes a village. We keep coming.
That's right. Yeah. Right? Well, listen, and we love to obviously stress on the community aspect.
Yep.
Not just the fundraising and the work, but also Tim and I sitting here with the microphones the entire time would be remiss if we did not highlight how much of a challenge trying to finalize these final couple of sections were. So that's one of the reasons, obviously, why we really wanted to showcase you in the end of the film here. But we also wanted to chat with you here. So, Tim, expand on that, the challenge.
So, so the route was fully developed right up before the original expedition, and just before Helene. It was baked. It was totally baked, and then Helene hit, and it was no longer fully baked.
Yeah.
So again, like we talked earlier in this broadcast, we were trying to make a decision how to handle that, and in the end, we decided to stop in Maggie Valley. And but then we challenged the group, said, "Hey, most of this is closed, but we've got to put a set of tracks out there now in February when we release the route." So I'm sure you were involved in that, kind of putting out that temporary part, right?
All of that, and then also scouting in the meantime to see what was opening gradually, all the way up until the time that I met you in Maggie Valley to shoot the last 3 sections, and we discovered that morning on the way in that the 55-mile section leaving up through Cataloochee was finally open, and we were thrilled.
I want to repeat that because that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We're all waiting for Rob to arrive in Maggie Valley, and he rolls in and he says, "I just rode the Cataloochee and it's open as of today."
Yeah. Right.
So it couldn't have been more perfect. And we should also stress that section is almost 55 miles of contiguous dirt.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a lot of 55-mile sections of dirt anywhere on in the East Coast.
Well, that's such a great point too, because sometimes you get a little spoiled out west with all the BLM land.
Yeah.
But between the twisty mountain roads and the small communities that populate the East, that's a real challenge. And 55 miles. Now, listen, riding responsibly, that's a good 2 hours out there of continuous dirt.
Yeah.
And some of the the more fun parts of the route are kind of in that area too, I think. So
that's right.
I was looking at some of the questions that were coming in on the chat, and one of them was, why don't we expand on what ride respectfully means?
Sure.
So Rob, in your mind, going, ride. This is your backyard, right?
That's right.
How do you want people to behave riding through the, on BDRs?
That's great.
Yeah. I think it's important to ride right, of course, because that's relative to safety. But riding respectfully means that you don't fly through. You really want to watch your speed. In fact, anywhere where there's mailboxes, anywhere where there's people, you want to be very careful not to, take big breaks in front of people's houses, and especially if anybody has to go to the restroom or anything like that. You want to be mindful of the people that live there, and just imagine what it would feel like if that was your home.
Yeah,
and just be careful.
Yeah, I always say that, we're riding through these areas and we think we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But we're actually riding, past someone's front lawn, and they've got, children, playing in the yards, domestic animals running around. And so there's a lot to riding respectfully, and it's about, caring about the areas that we're riding through, and knowing that it matters. And we're all ambassadors for the BDR. So how, act accordingly, because, it's really ours to lose.
That's it. Yeah. I'm a big fan in general of, and I know sometimes this is a little divisive for people, but of the motorcycle wave. Waving at other motorcycle riders. Love it all day long. That there's just this unspoken thing that is community. But I think what I enjoy even more than that is when you go through these small towns and you get a wave, like the families out walking afterwards, or someone's just a motorcycle fan. They give you a big wave, a big smile, and it happens all the time. But if you can be on the initiating end of that, I think that just goes so far, right?
Yeah, be friendly, right? Yeah, be friendly, and that's a big part of it. So yeah, I think it's just important to remember. And we've got a page on the website dedicated to our awareness programs, which is ride right, ride respectfully, yield to animals, and know your limits. I encourage our community to just every once in a while take a look and read and remind yourself of how important this is.
Totally, yeah. So while we have the expert here, though, on these northern 3 sections,
kind
Rob,
of off on a tangent. I'm sorry about that.
No, but it's an important one, right? And I think something that a lot of people, we're getting a lot of positive comments here in the chat too. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Kirk. Any favorite restaurants?
Oh my!
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because I'm hungry.
I've actually
I've
got a couple, but at the end of section 8 in Hot Springs, you got Iron Horse.
Okay.
And it opens back up, and they also have great pizza.
All right.
Lots
of pizza
right around the corner.
That's great. Yeah.
Americano in Roan Mountain is a stellar steakhouse of all things to have in a tiny town. But it's a remarkable steakhouse. My wife April and I just went there Friday night. In fact,
that's awesome.
And then at the very end, there's a place called Wicked Chicken. Best wings you'll ever have.
Really?
Yep.
Best wings you'll ever
in
have.
Damascus.
Buffalo or
what's the? I'm a Southern guy, so
okay.
I don't know buffalo wings, but I will say they have a whole big menu of wings.
Okay. Well, listen, you heard it here first, folks, right?
Yeah.
Best chicken wings in the U.S. of A. on the South East BDR.
At the end of that, it's your reward.
That's right.
It's a reward for finishing the route. So, Rob, is there anything else you want to tell? You've got the mic. Is there anything else you want to talk about with regard to BDR and your experience?
I've been thrilled to be associated with BDR. It's been a great time. There's great people associated with this. I got to know Kirk, who now, and Thomas, and all you guys who I consider to be friends, and it's a great organization, and it's got a great mission. Thrilled to be associated with it.
Well, thank you for your contribution. We really, we couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah. Oh, you saw my donation?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
I did. I donated tonight.
Right. Well,
it's always a reminder for me.
That's a good plug and a good segue. And I'm going to bring up here actually just one more time.
Thank you, sir.
Because Rob mentioned that when we had to do some rescouting on the northern half of this route, we had to look for alternates and new roads, and Onyx is a great way to do that. So with a $100 donation tonight, we've got it brought up on the screen here. You get this 15-year anniversary edition BDR map, which is limited edition. These are the only quantities, and you get an elite subscription to Onyx. So really just a pretty great package and something we worked hard to do. We like to be a little innovative in this. We understand that folks donate again and again, and we really want to express how appreciative of that we are. So
and that map is pretty cool.
It is.
I mean, this is going to hang up in my garage. It's going right up in my shop for sure.
So my question for you, Tim, is should we run the Texas Hill Country teaser, or should we help Thomas in the pressure campaign to get Kirk Lakeman to buy another bike? Because
that's true.
I think that I think we're making some.
I think so.
That's right. Yeah,
Kirk, that 701 has you really put it.
Yes, Kirk.
It doesn't owe you a thing at this point. I'm just
Kirk.
saying.
Yeah. That's it.
Excellent.
901 Norton. Okay.
So we're not leaving this showroom until somebody throws down.
Drop a thumbs up in the chat there, yes, if you think Kirk should buy a 901 Norton while we're here at Eurosport Asheville. So,
yeah, for sure.
I think that's pretty great if you could bring that home. And hey, free set of stickers for you, Kirk.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. And a T-shirt.
That's right. Yeah, we'll throw in a T-shirt, courtesy of BDR here. So. Tim, should we get into it? Should we just roll the teaser here? What else do we have to cover?
I think that's it. I think you wanted to mention something about something that was your initiative.
My initiative, yes.
Yeah,
I probably
you know what I'm
should
talking
do
about.
that. I do, yes.
Yeah. So I'll just set this up for you. So,
yeah, that would be great.
I don't know, 5 years ago now, Derek came to us and said, I want to do a film festival.
Yep.
Really? How are we going to pull that off? And he wanted to basically get our audience to submit films, their experiences on BDR. And we're like, we're a little skeptical how we're going to make it. Would it work? Would it be great? And he wanted to do it as a fundraiser and take it from there. Tell us your thought process and what happened.
100%. So Tim is obviously referring to the Keep It 100 BDR Film Festival, which will be in its 6th edition this year. And what we do is we try to source from the community 100-second BDR films, because as thrilled as we are to watch 40-minute, 60-minute, 100-minute helmet cam videos for folks, we really want to challenge folks to tell a story in 100 seconds or less. And we've had great success over the 5 years.
We've had some amazing entries.
Hundreds of films. Some folks who've actually gone on to create some pretty successful YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And I should have a slide here, but it looks like this is another one that fell through the cracks while I'm doing double duty.
See,
I know, right?
See, you're so, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we may need you on the other side of the camera.
That might be the case, yeah. But if you go to ridebdr.com and you search for the film festival, you can find all the info there.
Yeah.
And we always have more than $10,000 worth of prizes thanks to our sponsors.
Yeah, really.
So,
they really put out for that. And it's amazing. And I'm really looking forward. And so now is the time of year. You're out. It's we're in full swing now, riding season. You're collecting the content. Take the time to, and we all have that. We have drives full of videos that we shoot, and when we never look at them. Take the time and tell a story. Tell us your 100-second story of your experience on a BDR. And for us, it's super inspiring.
It
as
is.
well,
It's the thing that I get the biggest kick out of is seeing actual people riding BDRs. And vibes matter too. So although we've had some professional stuff in the past when we're reviewing it and we're looking at the films and trying to decide and do judging, there's also live judging as a component of it. People really respond to, hey, you got an iPhone and you've never made a film before, but you're having a good time and you want to share it with someone. So get creative, have fun, and that's really what it's all about. So yeah,
that's great. So now I think Texas Hill Country.
Let's do it. I think we should run it.
Yeah, let's roll it. This will be our next release.
That's it. And you want to give a shout out to the gentleman who edited this film.
Would that be
and shot this
Mr.
film?
Michael Bilecki?
That's right. So this teaser and the film was shot, directed, and edited by
Michael Bilecki, who is our routes manager, but also you all know him from being behind the camera. He's in our films. You see him every once in a while. He gets his cameo, but he's working hard capturing the films and editing, along with Sterling. But this particular film is all him.
That's it. So here is the Texas Hill Country teaser. Enjoy.
You're coming here because we want to ride, we enjoy riding, but we also want to experience the people and the culture of the area.
I'm excited as much for the places as I am the riding itself and the scenery.
Texan hospitality is something you got to experience for yourself.
Such a dream come true. I'm still trying to get into my body on what we're about to go do. Super stoked. This is the first taste of unpaved riding we've gotten today. Blasted through an epic water crossing.
These water crossings have the potential to flood pretty severely. That was fantastic. I gotta imagine that's about as good as it gets around here.
Man, that is so pretty.
You're like in a canyon, it's beautiful, super windy and fun. Like that, I was really feeling it on the Pan America.
This is a rider's route. This is a kind of route where if you want to just go have a really good time and just enjoy beautiful scenery and fun twisty turns, this is a great place to start.
There's nothing that technical. What you're really here for is to experience Texan culture.
Woohoo! Heck yeah, we're finally getting some Texas barbecue.
Doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah, I've been sweating it about those bump gates all day, dude, and that's the most fun I've had all day.
Super unique to this area. I've never come across a bump gate. First time here in the hill country. 2 days ago, it was 102 degrees, and today it's 50 degrees and rainy. We don't get a lot of water, so the roads are already going to be slick.
The last 4 days, we have literally had all 4 seasons of the year.
I think there is enough to see, enough to experience, and I think some of it's going to shock you.
There's a lot of scenery and there's just enough good dirt. It's a fun place to ride. There's some great people.
It was fantastic. It had a little bit of everything. We have a full BDRX ready to go, and I'm excited to share it.
It's almost the ideal introduction to adventure riding.
Well, another route that I am super excited for, and when the Texas Hill Country comes out in October, you'll be able to find those resources on our website at ridebdr.com. And of course, right now for the Southeast BDR, in all of our 20 routes,
20,
right? You can find free GPS tracks, links to the film, trip and travel planning resources. So if you just scroll on this page for the Southeast BDR, you can find all of that, which I think is pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. And, you know, remember, ride right, ride respectfully, yield to animals, and know your limits when you ride BDR. So what do you think?
That's the update.
That's the BDR update.